And welcome, good morning, and welcome back to a Monday, a beautiful Monday morning here at the Vision Alignment Show, where we all understand how important it is to recognize our blindness, because we all have blindness in our lives. We also understand how important it is to know what our vision is. And when we know what our vision is, we know how important it is to have our vision connected to our core beliefs, our core values. So they should all be in alignment. That's why we call it the Vision Alignment Show, because of that. And I'll tell you, we have a great show lined up, and a great week lined up for you this week, but I'll get to that at the end. But before I do that, I want to make sure that we have a little conversation here with a good friend of mine. Her name is Sarah Wells. Hey!
Hello, how are you?
I'm great. How are you this morning, Sarah?
So good, so good.
It's great seeing you, and thank you for being on.
Of course, happy too. It's exciting.
This is awesome. So tell me, Sarah, when is your first recollection of knowing your vision?
So I remember, I sucked at sports growing up. I really did suck at sports, and
Okay.
I didn't think that I would ever become an Olympic athlete. I know that sounds hilarious, but it's true. And only when I had been doing track and field for, I think, 4 or 5 years, and I had a teammate make the Olympic Games, and I saw he had bad workouts some days. He didn't win every race. Like there were hiccups in the plan, yet he still qualified for the Olympics. And he really showed me what's possible. And suddenly I was like, oh, I can see myself there at the Olympic Games, because it doesn't have to be perfect. And you don't have to have 0 hiccups in the plan and no bad days and everything smooth, And so once he made the Olympics, and it was 4 years before I did, I was like, I can see myself in that position. And really, I thank my coach and I thank him for really showing me what's possible.
Wow. If you want to hear more, say right there. Wow. Again, thank you so much for joining us, Sarah. But before we get to you, we also want to make sure that everybody out there that's listening in, share this video out with as many people as you can think of, because that's where we begin to grow this community, and that's really important. But also, if you would, put in your timeline a picture of you winking. And when you wink, I want you to be thinking of what makes you unique, because I know what makes me unique, and it's not my eye. What makes me unique is my positive personality, and how I'm going to share my story with other people to have a lasting impact. So when you wink and you take that picture, I want you to be thinking, what makes you unique? And then post that picture in your timeline, tag me on that picture, and put in a hashtag of Brian with one eye and a hashtag of winking without Wagner. So thank you so much for doing that. And as always, put in the comments where you're coming in from, where you're listening from. If you're listening live, put in a hashtag live. If you're listening on replay, hashtag replay. And if there's anything that I've missed, wow, I don't know what it would be. But keep with us. And Sarah, let's get back to you. So tell me your story.
So as I mentioned, I wasn't good at sports. I ended up finding the sport of track and field because a high school teacher saw me in gym class and said, you should do track and field. Like, I just saw you run after that ball. You did nothing with the ball, but you could accelerate real fast. And I was like, dude, I already got cut from every team at this school, but sure. I go out for the track team. They don't make cuts. So I made that team. I found hurdles. I fell in love with the sport, and I ended up winning our city championships. And then I won the national championships for juniors, and then eventually set my sights, years later, on making the Olympic Games. And the year before the Olympics, I sat out with an injury, a stress fracture in my femur that was supposed to take 3 months, ended up taking 9 months. And I had never touched Olympic standard before. So everyone told me to remain realistic. And after sitting out for those 9 months, I only had 6 months to get back to who I was and then improve a whole second in order to qualify. And on my first day back to training, I was like, if anyone can do this, it's me. And so I got the word believe tattooed onto my wrist. And I said, when I make the Olympic Games, I'm going to put the rings underneath here. And super bold move. Don't suggest everyone needs to tattoo themselves with their goals. But I often encourage people to find their word or phrase or quote, because for me, that was believe. And I could look down at that and remind myself, if anyone can do this, it's me. And 6 months later, I blow my own mind and I make the Olympic Games. And I'm like, holy moly, believing in yourself works.
That is awesome. So I mean, that's similar to what we're all going through, right? With our goals, our initiatives. So there are so many people that tell us that we need to write out our goals and to live those goals and to write out our vision and where we want to be in 3 years. So you did it, but you did it on your arm.
In a tattoo.
Yeah, my mom would not like that, but that's okay.
You know what? I actually did. I got it in the fall, and just before Thanksgiving. And so I went home for Thanksgiving, and my dad told me I ruined Thanksgiving. He was so mad. He was so mad. He loves it now, though.
It took him a while to come to that.
Like, Sarah, show them your wrist. Show them your wrist. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? It's like, you hated this before.
That is too fun. So what do you think the biggest factor in your success is?
The biggest factor, like besides believing in yourself being like the key message I often tell people about.
Yeah.
The second thing I speak to like so heavily is asking for help, is building that support system around you, because I didn't make the Olympics on my own. Like I had my coach, my physiotherapist, biomechanist, like family, friends, like people that were there to remind me why yesterday I said I could, when today, for some reason, I think I can't. And if you don't tell people what your goal is, what you're chasing, what you're going after, then they can't help you. They don't even know that you're trying to pursue that big thing. And there's a resilience PhD professor, and his name's Michael Ungar, and he does a bunch of leading research in resilience. And he has this book, and he talks about how we often admire the rugged, gritty individual. We think they're the most resilient. We think they're the most inspiring. But we shouldn't be admiring the rugged individual. We should be admiring the resourced individual, because they are the people that can know when to ask for help, gather those, like, it's not shameful or embarrassing to be able to know what you need and ask for that support. Some of the best leaders surround themselves with people that fill their gaps. And I think the biggest key to my success is that I had that support system. And I was so fortunate to have people that allowed me to become a resourced individual. And I get that that's not everyone's going to be that fortunate, but it's certainly become my mission with the organization I started, the Believe Initiative, to try to be that support system for as many people as possible.
That is incredible. So Michael Ungar, I'm going to look his book up.
Please do.
Yeah, in a second. But tell us, you talk about the Believe Initiative, and I know there's so many things going on right now with the impact of the coronavirus and the COVID, the pandemic. What are you doing these days with the Believe Initiative from a corporate perspective?
Yeah, so the Believe Initiative started as a youth organization that I founded because after I made the Olympics in 2012, 4 years later, I actually missed qualifying. After I'd just come off winning a Pan Am Games silver medal. I was, in the best shape of my entire life. I was like kind of a guarantee to, never guaranteed, right? But to make the 2016 Rio Olympics. And then I was gonna, be in the Olympic final, win my medal in a perfect world, and then retire and call it a life, like good work. But what ended up happening is I got injured, classic, just before, tore my hamstring, and then missed qualifying for the Rio 2016 Olympics. And I had been known as Sarah Wells, the Olympian, for 4 years. And somehow now, like, Sarah Wells, the Olympian, doesn't make the Olympics. And so I was devastated and took the year off of sport. And that's when I founded Believe Initiative, because I was like, no. For 4 years, I told people, if you believe in yourself, you achieve your goals. Like, that's what the tattoo was for. But now I just believed in myself in the 2016 Olympic trials, and I did not achieve my goal. And so is that some type of sick joke that people just tell you to make you feel better? And I realized I actually believed in myself more strongly after not making the Olympics, even more so than when I did. And so clearly you don't build self-belief through achievements, you build self-belief through action. And I founded Believe Initiative, which helped over 120,000 students all across North America connect a passion they have with a problem they want to solve. And they use that passion to solve that problem. And they build self-belief through action. And we were doing this with high schools everywhere. And it was in person in these big gymnasium summit events. And now we've turned it virtual, where we have student leaders lead their chapters at their schools. And we train those student leaders, and then they find members, and those members do Believe passion projects of passion, problem, connect the two. And in the fall, when like schools were back in session with COVID around, we had over 450 students, which created 250 Believe passion projects, which made an impact on over 19,000 people. And we saw it work in the school system. And then all of a sudden, we were talking to companies, and they were saying, our employees right now have volunteer days, like paid volunteer days sometimes, but no one knows how to use them, because the historic way of volunteering happened where you plan these like big group events where you'd go in person and pack meal kits, or you'd go to the soup kitchen, or you'd do some of these event-based in-person things for your volunteer days. And so we're now being hired by corporations to help them build self-belief, resilience, and really meet their corporate citizenship and kind of like HR requirement to help encourage their employees to be engaged, to give back to the community. And we use the same framework that has helped create over 10,000 student projects in our Believe Initiative youth programming. And that framework now we're running with like major companies like Salesforce, like RBC. And so it's really, really exciting for what we're looking to do now.
Wow, that's incredible. So tell us a little bit more about your framework.
Yeah, so it's the framework for the Believe Initiative program is on 3 big pillars, which is share, build, and act. And so you start off, and I should have said it in a different order, build, act, share is really what it should have been. Because you have to build out the idea, what that's going to take. You have to connect that passion to that problem. But when we think about what those product ideas can be, we might overwhelm ourselves with like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get all the pieces together? It seems super complex. And so in the build section, we really help you take a complex idea and break it down into like a simple framework and understand how much impact you can create in a simplified format. Then in ACT, we help you, making the Olympics in 4 years is a long process. And how do you take a really big goal, really big vision, and break that down into microcycles and small, minute action steps that keep you inspired, that keep you motivated, that keep moving the project forward? And so we take that action plan and really help you facilitate turning it into life. And then the last part is share, because you can do that good in the community, and that's great, but we don't want it to just be that you passively tell people about what you did and that thing you tried one time and the impact that it made, cool. But like, rather than going from passive storytelling to really powerful storytelling, and how you can create what I call your like mini keynote around what you did, the impact it made, how it helped you believe in yourself. And that story can be shared both internally to inspire others, and publicly to help showcase that brand or the employees themselves of the incredible work that they're doing. So it's build, act, share. And there's 6 steps in the process to help it like bring to life, but we don't have enough time to get into all of that.
Wow. Build, act, share. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Very cool. Well, thank you very much. I got to ask, I mean, I know the work that you do with the schools is one thing. Also the work you do at corporations is separate, but how does all that make you feel?
I mean, it's taught me why I needed to go through both sides of the story, because like I said, I had the moment where I was resilient. I got back up. I believed in myself, and I had the triumphant finish where I make it to the Olympic Games, and I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then 4 years later, I was resilient. I got back up. I believed in myself. I stood on that start line and went for it anyways, and it just didn't work out. Yet every single time I share the stories of whether the time I made it and the time where I didn't make the Olympics, far more people tell me after the fact that they're more inspired by the time where I didn't make the Olympics over the time where I did. And I think that's because we've kind of all remembered that moment where we poured our heart and soul into something and we watched it like just like either be yanked away from us or evaporate in front of our eyes, like especially this year, right? Like what you define success to be, what that pursuit of excellence was. And then it was just like overnight, seemingly, things just like exploded. And I think now being able to use my story to show people that like hard work isn't always going to lead to success. Like that sucks, but that's true. Like I worked just as hard in both times that I was trying to pursue the Olympic Games. And hard work won't always lead to success. But if you're resilient, if you choose to get back up, you can pick those lessons up and you can apply it to your next opportunity to find success. And so really what it means to me, it's helped my healing to understand why I needed to miss the Olympic Games, why I needed to fail, because I can now inspire people because I'm not just coming from a place of, hey, it's important to believe in yourself because look at me, I always achieved it when I believed in myself. It's like, look, I still believe that to be true, even though it didn't work out for me one time, so it's really meaningful to be able to use that story to inspire others. And honestly, it's helped me heal. Like it's self-serving as well, it's both. And I feel grateful to have the opportunity to do it.
That's great. So tell us, what does that next level of success look like?
So now I want to achieve Olympic level success in my Believe Initiative programming. I want to be in 1,000 schools across North America. I want to work with like the top Fortune 500 companies, helping them reimagine volunteerism and corporate citizenship. And I don't know what are all the steps to make that happen. But I know if I keep telling people this is the dream, this is the plan, this is the vision, that's what I said is my key to success. Ask for help. Tell people what you're pursuing. Like, guys, I want to be in 1,000 schools. So do you know whether it's guidance counselors, leadership teachers, or amazing student leaders? Great. Hook them up with me because that's that plan. If you are in HR or you're the head of people at a corporation, please let's chat because I want to be working with those major companies who want to make a difference, like truly make a difference and help you reimagine what that looks like through the Believe Initiative framework. So next level is Olympic level of that.
I love it. That is awesome. And that's so perfect. I just love that because that's what I do. That's what a lot of people do, with what we try to do anyways, with speaking on our goals and telling other people our goals. I mean, sometimes some of us are embarrassed to say what our goals are.
Because it holds you accountable to it. If you don't get it, then what, right?
Right, exactly. That's part of it. But then also, what if somebody said, you'll never do that, or you can't do that, or you should. If somebody talks down to you about your goal, how would that make you feel?
Right.
So, I love what you're talking about and how you're saying it. So that it's just perfect. So you've got a lot going on. And you have so much that is in your periphery, so much that is in front of you. You know what your vision is, but tell us who sees your blind spots.
So I think like people that are there through the process and journey, I feel really lucky to have a really amazing partner. His name is Blake, and we think very differently. He's an aerospace engineer that now works in product. And I took kinesiology and I'm like marketing and I like, action, like whatever. And he can rise above and be an engineer about it. He can look at kind of like, where are the gaps and what are you missing? And what questions might you need to have answered before you move forward? And I'm so grateful to have his brain for free, I'm like, hey, let's have a chat about this. And so he's really wonderful at helping me just see things that I might not see. And, at times it's challenging, especially when it's your partner, right? You're like, you just hate the idea, You're
a dream killer.
Reminding yourself that like they are doing that out of love, like they want to support you. And that's whether it's your business partner or, your manager at your office or, a peer of yours. Like people aren't always like necessarily critiquing stuff to be harmful. Like they are sometimes really trying to be helpful. And I think if we open ourselves up to the idea, and you know, it's potentially called being coachable, right? It's like what people want in employees all the time, of like someone who can identify a blind spot for you and then say, okay, this is a thing, and have you not just like resist it so hard or shut it down or make excuses. It's like when you can understand like they are doing this to help me get better, it allows you to not only like actually see your blind spots as well, but like work with them on how to better that. And so, you know, I try to adopt that mindset as much as possible when Blake and I are going through ideas I might have, or, you know, whenever someone has that.
Awesome. So my son, my youngest son, is he's a junior, and he is in aerospace engineering. So
oh, no way.
We may talk a little later.
That sounds great.
Maybe
Where's he go to school?
He goes to Ohio State.
Okay, cool.
So
great. Yeah,
he's doing really well. All three of my kids are incredible.
I'm sure.
You know, they're nothing like me. They're like their mom.
Stop.
Wow. Anyway, so there's so much here to talk to you about. Gosh, blind spot. So I'll let you go for a little bit, and you can talk a little bit more about this. But you talked about blind spots. You talked about how Blake has helped you with that. But how now accepting that and accepting the criticism, sometimes criticism, but sometimes other information you get back. How do you make sure you receive that as a gift, and how do you really work with it? Because that's hard. That's a hard thing to do. You're an Olympic athlete. Maybe it's easier for you, but there are times for me where, you know, I'm really set on this one idea, this one thing that I'm working on. I'm like, that's really good. Don't tell me I need to get rid of that.
Yeah, right.
So how do you deal with that?
Well, I think it's like reminding yourself within that conversation about the fact that you know they're coming from a place of support. You know that they're just trying to help you get better. And so whether it's like you give, like, I'm a big fan of putting like words in spots that you can see them, like if you put the word support on a sticky note near you when you're having that conversation, or you address that in the thing, like say, like, I need to hear you say like why you're critiquing that thing. Don't just critique it, but like tell me why you see it will better the idea or whatever. Because I think then you're on the same page. You understand where each other are coming from. And so it's like, if you can both commit to adopting that mindset, and whoever's critiquing that or looking into your blind spot, if they can say, I'm telling you this because I'm hoping that this will help you see this, or I'm hoping that this will actually better you in this way. If they can, you can ask them to say why, and then you yourself can just be like mindful of whether it's a word or something like, they are here to support me. They're trying to help me get better, and adopt that mindset.
Awesome. Very cool. So tell me, what are some of the obstacles or challenges you're still working on?
So, I mean, I think the whole world being flipped upside down.
Okay.
Not like, I'm not going to say like I'm trying to work on solving the vaccine. Like, obviously I'm not, but I think just like continuing to prepare for the uncertainty, and what does it look like as the world comes a little bit back into normal? Like, okay, we've adapted to make our programming virtual, but what does it look like in a hybrid format? What does it look like when, things change a little bit again? What does it look like if no one ever goes back to work? Like, right. I don't think that will be true, but like, what's like, how are you dealing with that uncertainty? And I think where I'm fortunate to kind of pull from sport and use that right now is you work your butt off for 4 years with zero guarantee that you're going to make the Olympic Games. And what it takes is like a healthy level of kind of ignorance of just like, don't care what the odds are, like, don't care, like, and it's a matter of like continued improvement and focusing on that, of like daily improvements, consistency, one foot in front of the other, that allows you to like, suddenly the time is up. Like, now you're here. Okay. I need to make the decision. I need to like, whatever. And you've focused on that consistent action. You've focused on bettering yourself. And so you're more equipped, you potentially have more resources, you've seen more, you've done more. And so that adaptation or whatever, dealing with the uncertainty that comes up, you have a protocol, you have resources, you have things that you can put in play. And so it's about not getting caught up in, oh God, what if, or, playing out in a scenario that's like not happening yet. And you don't even know if it will happen,
Yeah.
So it's like focusing on here and now, remaining consistent, remaining focused on development. And I think you had to do that in sport, and I have to do that now, regardless of some of the uncertainty causing some like stress and anxiety around like, oh gosh, like we don't know what's the future going to hold.
Yeah.
So.
Got some friends on here. So good morning, Mark, from his lake house in Wisconsin. That's nice.
Lucky.
Yeah, right. But if you can, tell me the difference that you see in standing on a stage like you do so many times with the Believe Initiative in front of thousands of people versus being on a track and with thousands of people. How is that different from the other?
Well, one of them, I don't have to throw up at the end. So that's great.
Which one do you throw up after?
In like pretty much every race, the most important races of my life, I throw up at the end. Because 400 hurdles is such a grueling event. It's the longest sprint and you have to jump over stuff. And so it's just awful. And
yeah, that's crazy.
It's one big lap around the track. There's 10 hurdles and you go to a place where my eyeballs start getting foggy as I'm approaching the finish line because you're so full of lactic acid, that burning sensation you get when you run as hard as you can. And so your body is shutting down. And then usually I try to find the garbage can, do my thing for a little bit. And then anyways, so that's not what you asked about, but that's one difference. I mean, the other things are similar in the sense that doing keynote speeches, of course, there's customization for every company or organization or whatever you're doing, but largely the main story or the topics I feel like, and I won't even say expert, but I feel like knowledgeable on are similar. And so I might do something that's similar on different stages. And so it's about refining the story, much like it was about refining the race, like still 10 hurdles in the exact same spot every single time. But it's about how can we do that 0.1 seconds better and 0.5 seconds better here. And by doing that, you only get better and more effective over time and, improve your overall personal record. And much like keynote speaking, it's a similar story. It might be tied to different topics, or I might use different examples based on who's in the audience, but it's about how can I use the story to be more effective, to inspire more, to create more immediate change and action from my audiences. And so it's about refining that and tweaking that. And I love the process of bettering and continuing to pursue excellence. And so that's similar. And certainly the butterflies, people are do you get nervous? I'm I don't get nervous in the terms of I don't want to do this versus behind my block. Sometimes I'd be I don't want to do this. But I still get my heart rate speeding up before I know they're going to welcome me to the stage. And I love that part because I think I thrive on the pressure, on the excitement of you have one shot to do this. You have your 45, 60 minutes to make your mark and make that impact. The same way I only had 55 seconds to pull out the best race I possibly could, run my best time ever. And so I like that pressure and it's exciting to me.
So do you practice a lot when you're speaking? Yeah.
Well, yes, kind of indirectly as well sometimes because, I'm doing 2 or 3 speeches a week. And so there's there's a practice in that of you're iterating as you continue to perform and do better and seek feedback and see what resonates with certain audiences. And so am I formally sitting down? Certainly at Mark's times throughout the year, absolutely. But a lot of the iterations and refining comes from taking action, which I feel very strongly about. You'll never learn faster and more effectively than in the process of doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so that's perfect because that's what you do in racing. You practice, you take action, you run a race, you run the race sometimes even when it's not really a race. You give the speech sometimes when you're not even giving a speech. So, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah.
Awesome. Wow. This is great. We've already ran through our time already. This is phenomenal. You've given us so much value, so much incredible insights into what you do. And I so appreciate you being on today.
Of course. Thank you for having me. It's a blast.
Would you mind hanging out for a little bit in the green room while I close out the show?
Sure thing.
Okay, awesome.
Thanks, everyone.
Sarah. All right, see ya. Bye. Oh, wow. Let's see here. Let me see. So I wanted to close you out. There we go. And wow. Incredible. Sarah Wells, Olympian. I am so glad she was able to join us. Hopefully you feel the same way. Oh, we've got a great show lined up for you for the rest of the week. So we've got myself will be on not tomorrow. Tomorrow is Tuesday. And on Tuesday, we have a special guest coming on, and that is going to be Kelly Robinson. She's phenomenal. So Kelly will be on Tuesday, and then it'll be myself on Wednesday. And then Thursday will be Dave Caperton back. And Friday, we have a huge special guest for the Vision Alignment Show, Andrew Davis, who is from the Heroic Public Speaking. He is connected with Michael Port from there, and I'm so glad and anxious to have him on. So that's going to be great. And then we have Greg Sini going on at 11:30 for the Vision Alignment Show. For the Radical Vision for Disability Show, where we talk about caregivers and also the people with disabilities and how important it is for them all to know what's going on in that disability, the person with disabilities in their world. So a lot of good stuff happening. So I'm so thankful you're on today. This is going to be great. I'm looking forward to a great week. Hopefully you are as well. And see, somebody else has commented here. So let's see who that is. Mark. Okay, hey, Mark, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So great. Thank you so much. And as always, keep one eye on the road.